All right, and we're back in the same area of Millbrook here. Skunk cabbage coming up. You can see that. I'm gonna get down a little bit closer. This is the spot where I can get closer. And you can see snails on it. We don't see a lot of animals on it or eating it, except for snails, which probably can't taste it as well as anything else because it is a really strong scent, and I would imagine would taste pretty bad. It's not safe to eat anyway. And I came in this spot because I wanted to show you this plant. This is called Angelica, and it has a firework looking flower in the middle of summer. So it gets really tall. It almost looks a little bit like a dandelion after all the seeds come out in like a little puffball. And so it's a pretty cool plant, but it gets maybe 3 feet tall. So it's a lot of these cool tall plants hang out at marshes. So I get back up on the boardwalk and we'll continue down the way and I'll show you a few other things. As we move along, a lot of the same plants, but many pieces of great habitat for all birds and animals. Think about what other kinds of animals would love to be in a place like this. There's lots of small mammals, especially chipmunks and squirrels. Occasionally a mink. Lots of birds. There's the Angelica again, right there. And lots of ground cover. See, a lot of the area, wherever there's soil, there's plants. So that's why it's important for a marsh to stop those soil from flying down the creek and ending up in the Susquehanna, because we need the soil here for all the different plants. And in there, some of those other taller, longer plants that you might be able to see if I can. So the little taller ones there, those are probably some sort of goldenrod, which I know we all think is a plant that we're all allergic to, but goldenrod is really a flower that is pollinated by butterflies and by other pollinators like bees from going from one plant to another. They don't spread by the air, throwing some of the pollen in the air and flying from place to place. They really do need a pollinator like a butterfly and a bee to do that work for them. So, and there's some of the old stuff too. Some old, all the old pieces. You'll notice a lot in the marsh, lots of down trees, things kind of broken up, left there. And that's really good for the marsh because that again is a place for habitat for insects, other animals. And also these things will eventually decompose or break down with the help of mosses and molds and mildew and mushrooms and turn into the soil for future plants. Very cool. So we're coming over to an area, and I don't know if you've been here before, you'll notice that the water is still pretty high. Usually in this spot behind this tree, somewhere where I'm trying to point to it, this area right here is usually an area where you can see some pretty large rocks that were put there to help with the flow of water, to help to keep the water flying fast in the center and slow down on the outside, so it helps control erosion. And you can see a lot of erosion on the bank over there. A lot of that's from big rainstorms that kick up a lot of water, and the water moves through here pretty fast, and it just hits that side, knocks down some of the soil, and that soil ends up going downstream. But this area here where the rocks would be can help stop it a little bit. And there's other places along the way that help stop it too. All these plants can help stop any of the plants growing in the water, which we haven't seen many today because the water is a little bit high. But those plants also can stop and hold soil. Let's see if we can find some. I'm going to move over this way. And there's Oreo. You ready? They're gonna come follow me, which is good. And we're coming over to this area, not too far from where we just were. And not a lot of plants in the water right now. At least not in this section. You can see a little plant right there. But that's probably just grasses that started growing in the wrong spot. If I see some plants in the water, I will definitely show you. And you can see there is still a little bit of erosion even with those rocks and things trying to... Oh no, we lost a dog. We got a dog in the water. Getting some drinks. If you haven't noticed, Jackson only has 3 legs. So I'll probably have to stop here in a second and help him out. So you'll notice, if you notice really what he did is he kicked up a lot of silt. I don't know if you can see it as well as I can, but all that is the soil that's kind of sticks on the side. And you'll see anywhere he stepped, all that soil is moving into the water and now going to head downstream. So we're going to get him out and stop that from happening because we want to keep the soil as close to the bank as possible. Oh, he might do it on his own. Okay. All right. So there's another piece. You can see trees will grow right on the bank. Good job, Jackson. He did it. He's safe. So there's a tree right there. And those tree roots are really important to that bank right there, keeping all the soil from flowing down the river. Well, not a river, the creek. So here it's considered spring, not quite Spring Creek yet, but this is Slab Cabin.